It started with a screech of tires and a cloud of dust. Maya clutched her grocery bags tighter as she turned to call for her son. "Noah?" she said, but there was no reply. Her heart jumped. He was gone. Across the road, a crowd had started gathering, pointing at something by the ditch. And then, through the gap between cars, she saw him, her little boy, just 3 years old, crouched beside a large, wounded horse. "Noah!" she screamed, dropping everything and running. The horse wasn't moving much. Its side was heaving. Blood smeared down one leg, but Noah didn't seem afraid. He knelt beside it, tiny hands reaching toward its face. And then he did something no one expected. He hugged it, just like that, arms around its neck, small face buried in its muddy mane. The onlookers went silent. Even the wind seemed to pause. The horse, though weak and hurt, didn't flinch. Its big eyes slowly blinked, and a low sound escaped its throat. Not fear, not pain. Something softer. Something almost grateful. Maya reached them, breathless. "Noah, baby, step back. That's dangerous." But he didn't move. Instead, he whispered, "Hurt," and kept hugging Dot. It was the first word he had said in days. Maya froze. The vet had said he might not speak for months, that his quietness was trauma-based. And yet here he was, talking to a horse. The villagers muttered among themselves. Where did it come from? Looks like it was hit by something. Should call animal control. A shopkeeper stepped closer. "Ma'am, your boy's brave, but we should move him. That thing might kick." Maya nodded slowly. "I know, but look at it. It's not scared of him." And it was true. The horse's breath slowed. Its head rested closer to the ground. Noah stroked its muzzle gently. "What's his name?" A child nearby asked. Maya shook her head. "It's not ours." Noah turned, still hugging the horse, and said, "Ember." Everyone looked at each other. Did he just name it? Someone whispered. Maya knelt beside him. "Honey, where did you hear that name?" He didn't answer. He just smiled and said again, "Ember." That's how it started. A nameless, broken horse on the edge of the road. A silent child. And a hug. Animal control arrived 20 minutes. Later, the men approached slowly, carrying ropes and tranquilizer darts. But when they got close, the horse lifted its head, nostrils flaring. It looked scared now. One officer warned, "We need to be careful. It could panic." Noah looked up. "No," he said. "Don't hurt her." "She's bleeding, kid," one man replied. "She might be dangerous." Noah stood between them and the horse, arms stretched out like tiny wings. "Please." Everyone stared. The officer sighed and put the dart gun down. "Fine. We'll try without sedation." Very slowly, they brought a stretcher close. Ember neighed once, tried to stand, then collapsed again. Noah patted her side. "It's okay. I'm here." The men exchanged glances. One whispered, "That boy's calming her down better than any shot would." It took them half an hour to gently lift Ember onto the truck. Noah stayed by her side the whole time, his hand resting on her neck. Every time her breathing sped up, he whispered to her. And every time she calmed down, Maya watched in silence, tears in her eyes. As the truck door closed, Ember let out one long, low sound, almost like a goodbye. Noah placed his tiny hand against the metal and said, "Bye, Ember. Be brave. Back." Noah was quiet again, but he didn't cry. He didn't scream. He sat by the window for hours, watching the road. That night, Maya tucked him in. "She'll be okay," she said softly. Noah looked up. "Promise?" She hesitated. "I hope so, baby." He turned away, holding the drawing he made, just lines and scribbles of a horse with wings, flying above a field. Maya sat beside him until he slept. The house was quiet, But her heart wasn't, because she knew, deep down, that something had happened out there. Something she couldn't explain. A wounded horse, a silent child, and a hug that stopped time. Asterisk, the truck rumbled away, carrying Ember into the distance. Noah's tiny hand stayed raised long after it disappeared. Maya stood beside him, unsure what to say. Her son had barely spoken for months, and now, in one strange moment, he was whispering comfort to a bleeding horse. They walked home in silence. Noah clutched a piece of Ember's mane, just a few strands that had caught on his sleeve at dinner. Maya placed a spoonful of rice in front of him. "Eat something, baby." Noah didn't touch it. He stared at his plate like it wasn't even there. Later that night, she found him drawing again. Just a horse. Always the same. Always Ember. She gently touched his head. "She's in a safe place now." Noah didn't answer. Back at the roadside, the villagers hadn't forgotten. People were still talking. That horse came out of nowhere. It's not just injured. It looked scared to death. "You saw that, kid?" "What kind of child does that?" The shopkeeper who had called animal control paced around his store, shaking his head. Never seen a horse settle like that. Not from a child's voice. At the shelter, Ember lay still in her holding stall. She didn't eat. Didn't move much. Just breaths, slow and shallow. "She's not doing well," the young assistant vet whispered. The lead vet sighed. "Internal injuries, and that leg's in bad shape." "She should be sedated," someone said. "No," the vet replied, shaking his head. "She's been through enough." When they tried to bandage her leg, Ember thrashed wildly. Her front hooves struck the wooden bars, eyes wide with fear. It took 3 men to back away without getting hurt. She hurt herself like this. One muttered, then the assistant said something that made everyone stop. "What if we brought the boy?" They all turned to look at her. "What boy?" "The one from the road. The one she calmed down for." The room fell silent. Finally, the vet said, "Find out who he is." Maya's phone rang the next morning. She almost didn't answer it. But when she did, she heard a calm voice. "Miss, I'm Dr. Shazad. I'm the head vet at the shelter where the horse was taken." Maya's heart skipped. "Is she okay?" "She's stable, but she's not letting anyone near her. Your son seemed to have a special effect on her. We'd like to ask, would you bring him here?" She looked over at Noah, still drawing. Quietly. "He hasn't said much since then," she said. "Except the name. Ember." The vet's voice softened. "Please, just once. We think it might help her survive." The shelter was quiet when they arrived. Noah clung to Maya's hand, but his eyes searched for one thing. Ember. The assistant vet led them to the stall. "She's in there. Be careful, she's very jumpy." Noah didn't wait. He stepped forward and knelt beside the bars. Ember turned. Her head, eyes dull, then alert. Then she stood, shaky, weak, but she stood. Maya gasped. "Oh my God." The vet stared in disbelief. "She hasn't stood since she came in." Noah reached through the bars and whispered, "It's okay, Ember." The horse pressed her head gently against the wood. The vet motioned for a bandage. "Let's try now." As the assistant approached with slow hands, Ember's ears flicked. She shifted but didn't thrash. "Keep talking to her," the vet whispered to Noah. So he did. Just soft little words. "You're not alone. I'm here. You're safe." Tears filled Maya's eyes. They wrapped the wound slowly, carefully. Ember stood still. Noah touched her neck through the gap. "Good girl." And for the first time, Ember made a low sound like a breath of relief. The vet sat back, stunned. "I'd never seen anything like this." Noah looked up at his mother and said, "She's not scared when I'm here." The vet nodded. "And she needs him more than she needs us." They all realized something in that moment. This wasn't just a bond. It was something deeper. A wounded soul had found another. And somehow, they were healing together. No one knew what would come next, but everyone felt it in their chest. This story had just begun. Asterisk. Ember stood in the stall, still and quiet, as the last bandage was tightened. Noah sat nearby on an old wooden stool, humming softly under his breath. She flicked her ear at the sound. It was the only thing that seemed to calm her. But just as her breathing had started to ease, the shelter truck pulled into the yard. A man stepped out with a clipboard and called out, "We're here for the injured, Mare." Maya stepped forward. "Wait, I thought she was staying here with the vet." The assistant vet glanced away. "It's temporary. She's city property now. The law says she goes to the holding center." Noah gripped the stall door, panic rising in his eyes. "No," he shouted. "She stays here." The shelter man walked over, looking at the boy kindly. "Son, she's not in trouble. She just needs more care, a safer place." Noah backed up. "She's safe here." But they didn't. Listen. Two men entered the stall with ropes. Ember neighed loudly, eyes wide. She backed into the corner, hooves tapping the ground anxiously. Noah screamed, "Stop! You're scaring her." Maya held him tight, but he kicked and cried in her arms. "She's not a bad horse. Please, don't take her." The men hesitated, but the driver said, "Orders are orders. We don't make the rules." It took 15 minutes, a lot of patience, and Noah's soft voice to finally get Ember onto the truck. She refused to move until she saw his face again. Then, with one slow step, she walked inside. The door slammed shut. Noah's sobs echoed across the yard. Maya carried him back to the car, tears on her own face now. "I'm sorry, baby," she whispered. All the way home, Noah sat curled in her lap, silent. When they reached the house, he didn't ask for toys. He didn't turn on the TV. He just walked to the corner of the room, grabbed a piece of paper, and drew another picture of Ember. Dinner time came. Maya placed a plate in front of him. "Just a few bites, okay?" Noah stared at the food. "She's hungry too." Maya knelt beside him. "They'll feed her. She'll be okay." "No, she won't," he whispered. "She doesn't want anyone else." And he pushed the plate away. Meanwhile, across town, Ember stood alone in the cold shelter stall. The walls were white. The lights were bright. The smell of metal and antiseptic filled the space. She didn't move. A worker slid a tray of food into her stall. She didn't touch it. Another worker tried brushing her mane. Ember flinched and backed into the corner again. "Poor thing," the woman whispered. "She's terrified." "She's been abused," the man beside her said. "See how she reacts to touch? I thought she was calm with that little boy." The man sighed. "That was different. Animals know who loves them." The workers left, and Ember stood in silence. Later that night, Maya peeked into Noah's room. He was still awake, curled up with his blanket, whispering something. She sat on the edge of his bed. "What are you saying?" "I told her I'd come back," he murmured. Maya rubbed his back gently. "We'll try. I promise." Noah didn't reply. His eyes stayed fixed on the window at the shelter. Ember finally lay down. Not because she was tired, but because her body gave up. She didn't cry. She didn't neigh. But her eyes stayed open, searching the empty dark for something. Or someone. A soft breeze blew through a broken vent. Ember lifted her head. Somewhere, in the stillness of night, a boy was hurting too. Two souls, taken from each other too soon, and both refusing to let go. 3 days. That's how long it had been since Ember was taken. And in those 3 days, Noah said nothing, not a single word. He didn't draw. He didn't eat. He didn't play. He just sat by the window, staring out like he was waiting for someone to come back. Maya tried everything. His favorite snacks, his favorite songs, even his favorite storybook. Nothing worked out. She called the vet Dr. Shestad to check in on Ember. His voice was heavy. She's not responding well. What do you mean? Maya asked. She won't eat, won't let anyone near her. She's got deep tissue injuries in her leg, and, he paused, she has old scars, rope burns, whip marks. Someone hurt her long before the accident. Maya sat down, trying to take it in. So, what happens now? If she doesn't improve, the shelter will have to make a decision. Large animals in her condition rarely get placed. Maya's voice shook. You mean they'll put her down? She's in pain, Maya. They won't want her to suffer. That night, Maya didn't sleep. She watched her son lie curled on the couch, blanket over his head, holding one of Ember's hairs like it was treasure. The next morning, she made a decision. She printed out a photo she had taken of Ember at the roadside. It was blurry, but you could see her eyes. Tired, trusting, and right beside her, Noah's hand on her face. She walked over and sat next to him. Noah, she said softly, do you remember her? He didn't move. She's not doing good. Maya continued. She misses you. Still nothing. Maya held up the photo. Look. His eyes shifted just barely. This is Ember. She's in pain. They say she might go away forever. Noah reached out, slowly, and touched the photo. His fingers landed on Ember's face. Maya's voice broke. Baby, if you want to help her, you have to say something. There was silence. Then, Noah whispered. One word. Help, Maya gasped. What did you say? He looked up, eyes full of something she hadn't seen in days. Help Ember. Maya pulled him close and nodded. Okay, we will, I promise. The next day, Maya drove to the shelter with Noah in the back seat. They met Dr. Shezad near the main entrance. I didn't expect to see you, he said. She needs him. Maya replied. Dr. Shestad looked at Noah. She's been refusing everything. Maybe seeing him will make a difference. They walked through the quiet hallway until they reached Ember's stall. She was lying down. Her body looked thinner, her eyes dull. Noah let go of Maya's hand and walked straight to the bars. He didn't speak. He just sat. Ember didn't react at first, but after a few minutes, her ears moved. She turned her head slightly, and when she saw him, really saw him, her head lifted. Slowly, she let out a soft breath. Not a cry, just a tired, gentle sound. Noah whispered, I'm here. And Ember blinked. Maya and the vet stood, frozen. She's moving. Dr. Shezad whispered. Noah pressed his palm to the bars. Ember stood. Weak, shaky, but she stood. Her hooves wobbled, and her breathing picked up, but she didn't fall. She knows he's here, Maya said. Dr. Shezad shook his head in disbelief. This bond, I've never seen anything like it. Noah whispered again. Don't leave. Please stay. That was the first time Ember walked toward the front of the stall since she arrived. She rested her head, right against the bars, and Noah smiled. But the fight wasn't over. Later that day, Maya sat across from a shelter official in a dull gray office. Miss, the man said, Ember is in critical condition. Our budget is stretched. There are other animals with better odds. She's not just another case, Maya said. She's already bonded with my son. Even so, the man replied, we have rules. If her leg doesn't improve in 1 week, we'll have no choice. Maya leaned forward. Then give her 1 week. The man sighed. 1 week, that's it. She nodded, holding back tears. She'll get better. You'll see. Outside, Noah leaned his head against Ember's stall, whispering quietly. She listened to every word. And for the first time in days, she took a bite of food. It wasn't much, but it was a start. A silent boy had spoken again. A wounded horse had taken a step toward life. and the world, once more, had begun to shift. Maya watched Ember lean her head against the bars, while Noah sat cross-legged on the shelter floor, whispering to her. The way the horse breathed slower, calmer, only when he was neared, was proof. But proof wasn't enough. Not for the system. Later. That day, she was called into the director's office. The room smelled like old paper and disinfectant. The man behind the desk didn't even look up right away. "I understand your concern, Miss Maya," he said finally. "But there's a process. She's eating now." She stood on her own. She responded to Noah, Maya pleaded. He nodded. "I've read the report, but you have to understand. Large animals are expensive, painful recoveries, long-term space. We don't have endless resources. She's not a case file. She's family." The man took off his glasses. "You're a mother. I respect that, but emotions don't run this shelter budgets do." Maya's voice cracked. "She's my son's heartbeat. You don't know what he's been through." He paused, then said, quietly, "You have 1 week left. After that, the board decides." That night, Maya sat at the kitchen table with her laptop open and her heart pounding. She clicked "Create Petition" and began typing. "Save Ember, a wounded horse who saved my son." She uploaded a photo. Noah standing beside Ember's stall, his hand resting on her cheek. Below it, she wrote, "This isn't just about a horse. It's about the bond between a silent child and the only living being that brought him back to life. Please, help us save her." She clicked post, then she shared it everywhere she could. Over the next 2 days, things moved faster than she expected. Noah's preschool teacher called. "I saw the petition." "Is that the same horse he draws every day?" Maya smiled faintly. "Yes, that's her." Even the vet, Dr. Shezad, got involved. He added his comment under the petition. "This horse shows signs of emotional trauma, but her response to Noah is extraordinary. In my years of practice, I've never seen such a connection." The petition hit 2,000 signatures by morning. Meanwhile, inside the shelter, Ember continued her slow recovery. She still didn't trust most staff. But every time Noah came, her eyes lit up. On the 3rd visit, Maya brought crayons and paper. Noah sat beside the stall and drew, his small fingers gripping the colors tight. He drew a horse with wings. He drew himself beside her. He colored the sun and sky. But as he worked, his tears began to fall. They smudged the paper, making the sky run red. Maya knelt beside him. "It's okay to cry. She's gonna go away," he whispered. "No, not if we fight." That afternoon, Maya returned to the director's office, this time with printed pages. "These are the signatures," she said. "Over 5,000. And here, testimonies from vets, teachers, even strangers who've seen the story." The director raised an eyebrow. "It's impressive." Maya leaned forward. "All we're asking is more time. A real chance. Let her heal. I'll pay what I can. I'll volunteer here. Just don't take her away." He sighed. "Look, the public support helps. But the board needs hard proof she'll recover." "She already is," Maya said, "because of Noah." Later. That evening, Dr. Shezad called. "I have an idea," he said. "If we can transfer her to a private barn under observation, they might delay the decision." "Do you know anyone who could do that?" Maya asked Dot. There was a pause. "I might." Back at home, Noah taped his drawing on the window. The colors were faded now. The paper rippled from tears. But he looked at it like it was real. Maya knelt beside him and whispered, "We're not giving up." Noah touched the drawing and said asterisk. Noah's fingers brushed the drawing taped to the window, his voice barely a whisper. "Come home soon, Ember." That night, Maya's phone buzzed. Unknown number. She hesitated, then answered. "Hello, is this Mrs. Maya?" The voice was warm, older. "Yes, Who's speaking? My name's Mr. Ray. I'm a retired veterinarian. I read about Ember in the petition. I'd like to see her, if that's all right. Maya blinked. You want to help? I want to see her with my own eyes first. But from what I've read, I think she's worth saving. The next morning, Mr. Ray arrived at the shelter with a small, warm leather bag and a calm presence that made even the staff stop and watch. He was in his late 60s, tall, with silver hair and kind eyes. No lab coat. Just a checked shirt, jeans, and old boots that looked like they'd walked through hundreds of barns. He didn't ask for permission. He just walked toward Ember's stall. Inside, she was lying down, her breathing steady but shallow. The moment she heard footsteps, she tensed. A staff member warned, "Careful. She doesn't trust new people." Mr. Ray didn't flinch. He stood by the stall quietly and said, "Hey girl, I'm not here to hurt you." She didn't move. Then Noah peered around the corner. "She knows me," he whispered. Mr. Ray looked down at the boy. "You must be the reason she's still fighting." Noah nodded and stepped beside the gate. Ember lifted her head. Her ears twitched. And then, slowly, she got to her feet. Everyone stared. She hasn't done that since the last visit. The assistant vet whispered. Mr. Ray stepped forward, slowly. "May I?" Noah looked up at Ember, then back at Mr. Ray. "She'll let you." Mr. Ray entered the stall gently. He didn't touch her right away. Just knelt down and watched her. "You've been through a lot," he murmured. "But you've got fight left. I can see it." He took a small flashlight from his pocket, checked her eyes, then gently placed his hand on her shoulder. Ember didn't flinch. "She's stiff, swollen, but I've seen worse heal," he said. The director of the shelter folded his arms. "We don't have the resources." Mr. Ray turned to him. "Then let me take her." "What?" "I have a private barn. Clean, quiet, no stress. I'll cover all costs. Feed, medicine, time, everything." The director frowned. "She's city property." "Not anymore," Maya said, stepping forward. "You said if we found a place willing to take her, you'd consider it." Mr. Ray added, "This won't cost the shelter a cent." The room went quiet. Finally, the director sighed. "On paper, it'll be a temporary medical transfer. One condition, if she relapses, we take her back." Mr. Ray nodded. "Fair." Noah's eyes lit up. "She can go with him?" "Yes, kiddo," Mr. Ray smiled. "And you can visit whenever you want." By evening, Ember was loaded into a small trailer. Unlike before, she didn't resist. She stepped up slowly, guided by Noah's soft whispers and Mr. Ray's calm voice. Maya stood beside the trailer, holding Noah's hand. "You think she'll be okay?" Mr. Ray checked the harness gently. "I've worked with broken bones. But what she needs most is peace. And that barn's got plenty of it." The trailer door closed. Noah placed his hand on the side and said, softly, "You're going home now, Ember." And Ember let out a soft, low breath. Almost like she understood. Mr. Ray's barn sat on the edge of town. Nothing fancy, just wood and wire, surrounded by quiet. Inside, hay was fresh, water clean, and the stall wide enough for Ember to move freely. As she stepped in, her hooves made soft sounds on the floor. She sniffed the air, then walked in a slow circle before lowering herself into the straw. Mr. Ray watched with a gentle smile. "Welcome home, girl." Maya looked around. "It's peaceful. It's healing," he replied. "For both of them." Noah stepped up to the stall. "She looks okay here." "She's safe now," Mr. Ray said. "But the next few weeks will be hard. You ready for that?" Noah nodded. "I'll help." And Mr. Ray knelt beside him. "Then let's help her together." A new chapter had begun. Not in a clinic, not in a shelter, but in a quiet barn where broken things came to mend. Where one small boy and one wounded horse were finally in the Hands of someone who believed that even scars could become strength. Ember settled into Mr. Ray's barn like she'd been waiting for it her whole life. She didn't flinch when the wind blew through the rafters. She didn't kick when someone walked by. And every time Noah came through the wooden gate, she raised her head like she'd just seen sunlight. Every morning before school, Noah begged to stop at the barn. Maya never said no. Not anymore. He'd carry carrots in his little backpack, his tiny boots thudding across the dirt floor. Ember would nudge his shoulder gently and lower her head for him. He'd feed her in silence, whispering as he stroked her mane. Mr. Ray stood nearby, always pretending not to listen. But one day, he finally asked, "What do you tell her, kid?" Noah looked up, smiled a little, and said, "Secrets. Must be good ones." Mr. Ray chuckled. "She listens better to you than she does to me." Noah didn't answer. He just leaned in and rested his forehead against Ember's. It became a routine. School, barn, whisper, feed, repeat. Maya noticed something strange. Noah still barely talked to people. But around Ember, it was like a switch flipped. His words came smooth, his voice soft but steady. It was as if the horse spoke a language only he understood. One afternoon, Mr. Ray said, "You know what you are, Noah?" The boy tilted his head. "You're a horse whisperer." Noah raised his eyebrows. "What's that?" "It means horses trust you, even the broken ones." Noah looked at Ember. "She's not broken," Mr. Ray smiled. "Neither are you." From that day, the name stuck. Everyone at the barn started calling him that, the horse whisperer. But healing wasn't quick. Some mornings, Ember would limp badly, her eyes dull. Other days, she'd push herself to stand taller, even walk a few slow laps around the fence. Noah watched every step like it was magic. When she fell once, hard, he ran to her side and whispered, "You're still strong. Don't give up." And she did single quotes. Mr. Ray said it again and again. She listens to him more than any vet I've ever known. At night, Maya would find sketches in Noah's room drawings of Ember flying through the sky, or standing on hills, or lying beside him in a field of stars. One drawing had a big word at the top in shaky letters: hope. One rainy afternoon, a stranger stopped by the barn. Tall man. Wore boots too clean to be from the area. He looked over Ember's stall and said, "That the horse from the story?" Mr. Ray stepped forward. "Who's asking?" The man shrugged. "Heard about her. Thought I'd see for myself." "She's not for sale, if that's what you're thinking." The man smirked. "Didn't say I was buying." Then his eyes landed on Noah, who was brushing Ember's back. The horse stood completely still under his touch. "That boy yours?" "No," Mr. Ray said, "but he belongs to her." The man gave a strange smile. "I'll be around." And then he left, leaving muddy footprints behind. Mr. Ray watched the road long after the truck disappeared. Something in his gut didn't feel right. That evening, he pulled Maya aside. "Did you recognize that man?" She shook her head. "Why?" He wasn't just curious. "I've been in this world long enough to know when someone's hiding something. Think. He's from her past." "Maybe. And if he is, we need to be careful." Maya looked back at Ember's stall, where Noah was sitting quietly beside her. "She's finally safe," she whispered. "We can't let that change." Mr. Ray nodded. "We won't. Not while I'm here." The days went on. Noah's voice grew stronger, at least with Ember. He started humming to her, reading books aloud while she chewed hay. Ember's legs still had a long way to go. But her spirit? That was already healing. And every time someone asked how, Mr. Ray would point to the small boy in the stall and say, "The horse whisperer did it." Ember had been doing better, walking steadier, eating more, even nuzzling into Noah's neck when he came to visit. Mr. Ray had started her on gentle stretches, just a few minutes each day. Progress was slow, but it was real. Then came the day that changed everything again. Mr. Ray walked into the barn with a small wooden stick. It wasn't meant to hurt, just part of a light mobility test he'd used for years to help horses shift their weight without strain. But the second Ember saw it, something in her snapped. She reared up with a terrified scream, eyes wild, hooves kicking at the air. Noah stepped back. Mr. Ray shouted. Noah froze, shocked by her sudden fear. Ember crashed against the stall wall, breath heavy, legs trembling like she'd seen a ghost. Maya rushed in. "What happened?" "I don't know." Mr. Ray dropped the stick. "I didn't even touch her." Ember backed into the corner, her body shaking. Her eyes didn't just show pain, they showed terror. The kind that didn't come from now. The kind that came from before. Then Noah did something no one expected. He stepped forward. "Wait, Noah," Maya started. But Mr. Ray stopped her. "Let him." Noah walked slowly toward Ember's side. Her body was tight. Her chest moved fast. But she didn't move away. He reached out, small hand resting on her ribs. Softly, he whispered, "No more bad." Ember shuddered under his touch. Her head lowered. Just slightly. Mr. Ray's voice dropped. "She's been beaten before. That's what this is." Maya swallowed. "Someone used a stick like that on her?" Mr. Ray nodded. "It's not just physical. She remembers. Her body remembers." Noah leaned closer. "I won't let anyone hurt you." Ember let out a slow breath. Her legs steadied. Her head tilted toward him. Mr. Ray whispered, "He's healing her." From that moment, everything changed. Mr. Ray never brought a stick near her again. Instead, they used voice cues and hand gestures. And Noah was always there, always whispering, always watching. But the incident opened something deeper. They started to notice other things. Ember flinched when Boots stopped near her stall. She panicked at the sound of a chain rattling. And once, when a loud motorbike passed the barn, she collapsed to her knees. Each time, Noah was there, holding her, calming her. "She's not just hurt on the outside," Maya said one day. "She's hurting inside too," Mr. Ray nodded. "Most people give up on animals like that. Say they're too broken. But Noah doesn't," she replied. "That's because he knows what it's like," Mr. Ray said softly. "To be scared, to feel alone. He doesn't just see her. He understands her." The next morning, Noah drew something different. A picture of Ember, but this time, he'd drawn a heart on her chest. And next to her stood a boy, holding her reins made of light knot rope. He showed it to Mr. Ray. "She's not scared here," Noah said. Mr. Ray smiled. "That's because she trusts you." One evening, as the sun faded, Ember stood at the edge of the field. Noah sat on the fence beside her, humming softly. She was calm now. Mr. Ray leaned on the gate, watching. Most trainers would have quit. "After what happened," he said. Maya smiled. But Noah's not a trainer. He's her friend. Inside the quiet barn, something beautiful was happening. A boy who once stopped speaking had found his voice through a wounded horse. And the horse, who once trembled at every shadow, was learning to stand tall again, not because of medicine, but because of love. The day started like any other. Noah was brushing Ember's mane while softly singing a song he'd made up. Mr. Ray fixed a loose hinge on the barn door, and Maya sat nearby, watching it all with a kind of peace she hadn't felt in months. Then a truck pulled into the dirt driveway. One no one recognized. The door opened and a tall man stepped out. Clean boots, sharp eyes, a clipboard in one hand. "Morning," he said. "I'm looking for a horse." Mr. Ray wiped his hands. "What kind of horse?" The man glanced toward the barn. Female, chestnut coat, scar above the left knee. Went missing a while back. She might have ended up here. Maya stood up slowly. What's her name? Doesn't matter, he said. She's ours. Noah stepped protectively. In front of Ember's stall, inside, Ember tensed. Her body went stiff, and her eyes locked on the man. A second later, she let out a sharp, terrified neigh and kicked the back wall of the stall with force that shook the boards. Easy now, Mr. Ray said, moving toward her. But Ember wasn't calming. She stomped, snorted, and backed into the corner, wild fear in her eyes. The man didn't flinch. Looks like she remembers me. Noah's face went pale. He turned to Mr. Ray. Don't let him take her. Mr. Ray walked over to the man. I think you should leave. I have paperwork, the man replied. If that's the horse I think it is, she belongs to Ridge Hill Racing Farm. Not anymore, Maya said firmly. She's not yours. He ignored her. She was trained for speed. Best legs I'd seen in years, but she spooked easy. Cost us money. Then, one day vanished. Mr. Ray stepped between him and the stall. She didn't vanish. She ran, probably to save herself. The man narrowed his eyes. You don't know what you're talking about. She remembers you, Mr. Ray said, nodding at the stall. And she's terrified. That tells me everything I need. I'll be back with legal documents. Then bring them, Maya snapped. We'll be waiting. The man turned without another word and drove off as the truck disappeared. Ember slowly came out of the corner. Her body still trembled. Noah walked into the stall and whispered, He won't touch you. I promise. Ember lowered her head and pressed it against his chest. That night, Mr. Ray searched the name, Ridge Hill Racing Farm. What he found made his hands clench. News articles, complaints, fines, allegations of abuse, overtraining, doping. One article showed a picture of a broken-down track and a horse lying in the mud. The caption read, Former Ridge Hill racer euthanized after injury. Maya walked in and saw his screen. That's where she came from, isn't it? Mr. Ray nodded. She escaped hell. Noah entered the room, holding a drawing. It was Ember. Behind bars. The gate open. A boy holding it. She was locked up, he said softly. But now she's free. Maya knelt beside him. Not if they take her back. They won't, Mr. Ray said. Not without a fight. The next day, Mr. Ray called the animal registry and requested Ember's medical chip to be scanned. It had never been read fully since she arrived. They found it. A small, buried tag in her upper shoulder, inserted years ago. It traced back to Ridge Hill. Officially, they still listed her as missing livestock. Mr. Ray hung up the phone and muttered, Unbelievable. He called a lawyer friend, then gathered every vet record, photo, and document since Ember had entered the shelter system. We're building a case, he told Maya. Not just for her, but for what they did to her. Noah sat silently beside Ember that afternoon. He placed his hand on her side and whispered, You're safe now. We won't let them win. She didn't flinch this time. She just breathed in and out, like she believed him. A week passed. No papers arrived, but the fear lingered in the barn like a shadow. Any truck that pulled in made Ember tense. Any loud voice made her back away. The trauma was still inside her. But every day, Noah was there to whisper it down. Mr. Ray watched them one morning and said to Maya, She's not just healing because of time. She's healing because of him. Maya nodded. And he's healing with her. Mr. Ray placed a hand on the stall gate. They found each other at the edge of ruin. Now look at them, standing. And they were a horse once broken, a boy once silent, both learning to live again together, even as the past came knocking, even as shadows tried to return. Because sometimes the only thing stronger than memory is love. Asterisk, they finally sent. The papers, he said quietly. Noah was in the next room, drawing another picture of Ember. This one with a golden medal. Mr. Ray sat at the kitchen table, holding a thick envelope in one hand. Maya stood across from him, her eyes locked on his dot around her neck. Maya took a deep breath. What do they want? Mr. Ray opened the envelope and laid out the documents. They're filing a formal claim. Ridge Hill Racing Farm says Ember is still their property. According to livestock laws, they technically aren't wrong. She's not property, Maya said. She's not a thing. They don't care, he replied. To them, she's a number, a lost asset. Noah peeked around the corner. Are they coming to take her? Maya knelt down beside him. Not if we can help it. 2 days later, a legal notice arrived at the barn. It said that unless Ember was returned within 10 business days, Ridge Hill would take the matter to court. Mr. Ray slammed the barn door shut behind him. We don't have much time. What do we do? Maya asked. We go public. That evening, Maya posted a video on social media. She sat on a hay bale, holding Noah close, with Ember just behind them in the stall. She looked into the camera. This horse is not just an animal. She's not property. She's not a racing machine. She's my son's heart. She's the reason he speaks again. She's family. She shared their whole story, from the roadside hug to the barn of healing. By morning, the video had 10,000 views. By evening, it had over 100,000. And then the news trucks came. Reporters gathered outside Mr. Ray's barn, stepping carefully around the mud and hay. They pointed their cameras at the stall, where Noah stood brushing Ember's mane. He didn't speak much to them, but he didn't need to. His quiet presence said enough. She doesn't like loud people. He whispered to one kind reporter. Why? Do you love her so much? The woman asked gently. Noah looked down and said, because she didn't leave me when I was quiet. Mr. Ray gave interviews too, talking about the abuse, the trauma, and the long road to healing. This horse was thrown away, he said. Now they want her back because the world saw her worth. But she's already found her home. Maya was invited to speak on live television. When asked what made her fight so hard, she didn't hesitate. She helped my son heal. She gave him back to me. So I will fight for her with everything I have. The host asked, what do you want people to know? Maya looked into the camera and said, she's not property. She's family. The clip went viral overnight. Thousands began signing petitions, again bigger than the first time. A horse sanctuary from another state offered legal help. Animal rights groups joined the battle, digging into Ridge Hill's record. They uncovered fines, closed-door settlements, and more than one horse listed as lost. Under suspicious circumstances, Noah's story hit headlines around the country. The boy who saved a horse, from silent to strong, a child's fight. For justice, reporters called daily. Donations poured in to cover legal fees. Artists even made drawings of Ember with wings, calling her the horse who rose again. And Ember? She stayed calm through it all, almost like she knew the world had finally heard her cry. One afternoon, a representative from Ridge Hill showed up at the barn. He wore a suit and sunglasses, stepping carefully across the straw-covered floor. This is getting out of hand, he said. You people have no right. You people? Mr. Ray cut in. You mean the ones who gave her a second chance? The man ignored him. We're offering a peaceful solution. We'll drop the case if you return the horse quietly. Maya stepped forward. She's not going anywhere. She's our property under state law. Noah appeared from behind Ember and stood in front of her. The man sighed. Kid, step aside. No, Noah said. She's mine. Ember let out a soft sound and lowered her head toward him. The man stared for a long moment, then turned to leave. You'll hear from our lawyers. Mr. Ray called out, Good. So will you? That night, the barn was quiet again. Noah lay curled in the straw beside Ember. She didn't move. Just stood there, watching him, breathing slowly. Maya watched from the gate. Do you think we'll win? Mr. Ray leaned on the post. We already are. Because of the media? No, he smiled. Because of him. He nodded toward Noah. He didn't give up on her. And now the whole world's following his lead. Maya whispered, He's just a boy. Mr. Ray looked at her. And that's what makes it even more powerful. In the middle of the storm, in the eye of the legal battle, a small boy had become the voice of a horse once silenced. A voice strong enough to shake courtrooms, cameras, and the cold hands of those who saw animals as numbers. The fight for Ember had begun, but they weren't fighting alone anymore. The world was watching. And this time, love had the louder voice. Asterisk. The courthouse smelled like old paper and floor wax. Maya tightened her grip on Noah's hand as they walked down the long hallway, each step echoing against the walls. Reporters waited outside, flashes going off the moment they appeared. Mr. Ray held the door open. You okay, buddy? Noah didn't say a word. He just clutched his sketchpad to his chest. Inside it was his newest drawing, Ember standing on a hill, her head high, her eyes free. The courtroom was already filling up. On one side, Ridge Hill's lawyers sat stiff in their suits. On the other, Maya, Mr. Ray, and Noah took their seats, beside the lawyer who had offered to help for free. Then the judge walked in. All rise. The bailiff called out. Noah stood, his eyes wide, his small hand still gripping Maya's tightly. The judge was a middle-aged woman with tired eyes, but a gentle voice. We're here to resolve the custody dispute over an animal identified as Ember. Ridge Hill's lawyer stood first. Your Honor, this horse is legally registered under Ridge Hill Racing Farm. She was reported missing. Now found, she must be returned. The judge looked over her glasses. And why wasn't she recovered sooner? We didn't know where she was. Once we learned she was here, we acted. Mr. Ray leaned toward their lawyer. Ask about their history. Their lawyer stood. Your Honor, Ridge Hill's record shows multiple violations, animal mistreatment, neglect, even unresolved fines. Ember fled, not by accident, but by survival. She has deep physical and emotional scars. The Ridge Hill lawyer interrupted. She's livestock, not a person. Noah flinched. Maya stood slowly. May I say something? The judge nodded. Go ahead. Maya's voice was steady. She's not just a horse. She's the reason my son speaks, the reason he smiles. Before Ember, Noah wouldn't talk to anyone. She didn't just heal, she gave him a reason to come back to us. Noah tugged at her sleeve. Can I show her? Maya looked down. Are you sure? He nodded. The bailiff brought over a small easel, and Noah placed his sketchpad on it. Then, he stepped to the center of the courtroom, clutching something in his other hand. It was a carrot. The judge tilted her head. Young man, what do you want to share? Noah looked up, voice soft but clear. I want to bring her in. A murmur spread through the courtroom. Mr. Ray stood. She's outside, Your Honor. Calm, quiet. If it pleases the court. The judge considered it. Let's allow it. Moments later, two handlers brought Ember through the side entrance. Her hooves tapped softly on the polished floor. Everyone held their breath, but Ember didn't panic. She walked straight to Noah, and then he hugged her. He wrapped his little arms around her neck, pressing his cheek to her fur. Ember closed her eyes, breathing slow and steady. The courtroom went completely silent. Even the Ridge Hill lawyer said nothing. The judge took off her glasses and wiped a tear. This speaks louder than any law book, she said quietly. After a long pause, she looked around the room. Sometimes the law must follow the heart. She picked up her pen. In the matter of custody of the horse known as Ember, I rule in favor of Maya and Noah. Effective immediately, she is no longer property. She is family. Cheers broke out in the room. Mr. Ray clapped Noah on the back. "You did it, kid." Maya dropped to her knees and hugged her son. "She's ours, forever." Noah looked at Ember and whispered, "We're free now." And Ember let out a soft, peaceful breath, like she understood every word. Asterisk. The courtroom ruling had given Ember her freedom, but freedom didn't mean she was whole. Her legs still carried the weight of her past, each step shaky, every movement cautious. The old scars were healing, but the damage went deeper than bone. Mr. Ray worked with her every morning. Slow, short walks around the paddock, gentle stretches, warm compresses. And Noah, he never missed a day. He'd sit nearby with his sketchpad, or walk beside her, whispering, always whispering. "You're strong," he'd say, "even when it hurts." Ember trusted him like no one else did, and Noah trusted her right back. One morning, the barn was quiet. The usual sounds of hooves and hay had been replaced with a stillness that felt heavier than usual. Mr. Ray stood at the edge of the field, watching Ember rest in the grass. Maya leaned against the fence beside him. "She's not tried standing all the way since the hearing," she said softly. Mr. Ray nodded. "Her body remembers the fall. So does her heart." Then they saw it, Noah slipping under the fence, walking toward Ember with something in his hand, a ribbon. He tied it loosely around her neck and smiled. "This means you're brave," he whispered, "even if you fall again." Ember raced, her head blinking slowly. Then, with a deep breath, she moved. First, one hoof forward. Then another. She tried to push herself up, but her back leg gave out and she dropped hard into the dirt. Noah didn't panic. He stepped closer, placed his hand on her side, and said, "It's okay. You can try again." Ember didn't move right away, but then she did. She planted her front legs first, wobbled, shook, but didn't fall. Then, slowly, painfully, her hind legs followed, and this time, she stayed up. Her legs shook beneath her, but she stood fully tall. Noah gasped, eyes wide. "You did it!" he shouted. "You're standing!" Maya covered her mouth, tears filling her eyes. Mr. Ray smiled, shaking his head in disbelief. Noah ran in a circle, clapping and laughing. It was the first time they'd heard that sound in months. His laugh, light, pure, free. Ember took a small step forward, then another. Her movements were stiff, but determined. "You're walking." Noah beamed. "You're really walking." She turned slightly, her head lowering to touch his shoulder. And in that moment, nothing else mattered. Not courtrooms, not past pain, not the limp in her leg. Just one boy, one horse, and one step of courage at a time. Mr. Ray whispered, "She's coming back to life." Maya wiped a tear. "So is he." That day wasn't just a recovery milestone. It was a victory. Not loud, not dramatic. But powerful. Because after all the hurt, Ember stood again. And so did Noah. Together. Asterisk. After the day, Ember stood on her own. Something shifted in Noah, too. He smiled more, laughed more. His footsteps got lighter. He even started humming when brushing his teeth. At school, his teachers noticed. He started answering questions in class, even raising his hand sometimes. Before Ember, he hardly spoke at all. One afternoon, his speech therapist met with Maya. "He's improving faster than expected," she said. "Whatever you're doing, it's working." Maya smiled gently. "It's not me, it's her." "You mean the horse?" Maya nodded. "Her name's Ember." The therapist leaned back. "Well, then Ember's doing what medicine couldn't." A few days later, a team of doctors asked to observe Noah during his barn visits. They stood quietly near the fence while he fed Ember a carrot and whispered to her. They took notes, whispered among themselves, asked a few questions. Then one of them said, "This is classic equine therapy. Emotional growth. Speech response. Trust rebuilding. Textbook. But Maya shook her head. It's not therapy, she said. It's love. The doctor tilted his head. Love? She didn't fix him with technique. She didn't follow steps or programs. She just saw him, and he saw her. That evening, Maya sat with Noah at the kitchen table. Your teacher says you've been talking more, she said. Noah nodded. A little. Why do you think that is? He didn't answer right away. Then he whispered, because Ember listens. Maya leaned in. And what does that make you feel? Safe, he said. Like I matter. Her throat tightened. She reached over and squeezed his hand. You always mattered. He looked up at her. But now I feel it. At the barn, Ember was walking more each day. Still with a slight limp, but there was confidence in her steps now. Mr. Ray watched her carefully. Her leg's healing, but what amazes me most is her eyes. What do you mean? Maya asked. They were dull when she got here. Scared. Hollow, but now they shine. He turned to her. Same as Noah's. That weekend, a local newspaper came to do a story. They titled it, The Boy, the Horse, and the Healing. The article talked about equine therapy, but the reporter added something else at the end. Sometimes the best medicine has a heartbeat and 4 hooves. The story spread again. Parents reached out, asking where to take their own kids. Therapists wanted to learn more. Teachers sent notes thanking Maya for sharing. But for Maya, it was never about the headlines. It was about one small boy who found his voice. Because one wounded horse never asked him to speak. She just stayed, listened, and loved. One night, Maya found Noah asleep in his bed, sketchpad still in his lap. She turned the page gently. It showed Ember again, this time with Noah sitting on her back, holding a flag. The flag read, I'm not afraid anymore. Maya whispered, neither am I. Because therapy might have helped, but it was love that healed them both. And it started the day a little boy hugged a horse that couldn't run. And gave her a reason to stand. The skies turned dark faster than usual that evening. Clouds rolled in heavy, and the wind whispered warnings across the fields. Maya closed Noah's window, pulling the curtain tight. Looks like a storm's coming, she said softly. Noah was already in bed, curled up with his sketchpad. He didn't reply, just held the page against his chest. Another drawing of Ember, her head lowered protectively over him. Maya kissed his forehead. Sweet dreams, baby. Outside, thunder rumbled. Inside, all was still. At the barn, Ember paced. Her ears twitched. Her hooves shifted nervously. Rain began to hit the roof, but that wasn't what made her uneasy. She felt it. Something was wrong. Then she neighed. Loud. Sharp. Over and over again. Mr. Ray, who lived in the house beside the barn, rushed out with a flashlight. What is it, girl? But she wouldn't calm. She pressed her head against the stall door, eyes wide, snorting hard. Mr. Ray opened the gate. She pushed past him, racing out into the rain. Whoa! Ember. But she didn't stop. She galloped toward the tree line, muddy. Ground beneath her, lightning flashing above. Mr. Ray fumbled for his phone. Back at home, Maya woke with a jolt to her phone ringing. Mr. Ray? It's Ember, he shouted over the wind. She bolted out. Something's wrong. Check on Noah. Maya ran. She threw open his door. The bed was empty. Noah! She screamed. Noah! Rain slammed against the house as she grabbed her coat and flashlight. She ran into the night, her voice breaking as she shouted his name again and again. Noah! And then she saw her. Ember. Standing in the clearing. Soaked, shivering, but still, right beside her was Noah. He sat on the wet grass, barefoot, eyes closed, sleepwalking. Ember had her head bowed near him, shielding his small body from the wind. Maya dropped to her knees. Noah! Oh my God! She reached in gently, wrapping him in her arms. Stirred, whispering, "Ember, found me." Maya held him close. "You're okay. You're safe now." She looked up at the horse. You saved him." Ember let out a soft sound, almost like a sob. Mr. Ray arrived seconds later, flashlight shaking in his hand. "I followed her all the way here. She led me straight to him." Maya nodded through tears. She felt him leave the house. They walked. Back together. One boy, one mother, one horse. The storm still raged above, but none of them were afraid anymore. Back at the barn, Maya dried Noah with a towel and gave him cocoa. He sat beside Ember, his head resting on her chest as she lay beside him. "She cried," he whispered. "What do you mean?" Maya asked. "I felt it," Noah said. "Her tears in the storm." Maya looked at Mr. Ray. "He means it." She was scared. She wasn't just calling out. She was crying for him. Mr. Ray whispered, "She's more than a horse, Maya. She's his guardian." Maya sat beside them, stroking Ember's mane. "No, she's his angel." Outside, the storm slowly faded. But inside, something brighter was already growing. Because sometimes love doesn't speak. Sometimes it cries. And that night, a horse cried for the boy who once saved her, and in return, she saved him. The morning after the storm, the barn felt different. Lighter. Ember stood taller, her eyes calm. Noah walked beside her like nothing had happened. As if standing in the rain together had somehow sealed something deeper between them. Mr. Ray cleaned his tools on the workbench. "Her final checkups today," he said. "If her leg's healed, like I think it is, she's officially out of recovery." Maya smiled. "She already looks ready. She's got strength," he nodded. "But before I close the chapter, I want to check her hooves one more time." Ember lifted each leg for him without protest. But when he touched her left front hoof, something shifted. She flinched. Not from pain. From memory. Mr. Ray narrowed his eyes. "Something's here." Noah stepped closer. "What is it?" "Not sure yet," Mr. Ray muttered, reaching for a small brush and scraper. He cleaned the underside gently, brushing away dirt and debris. Then he stopped. There was metal, buried deep in her hoof wall, nearly invisible. "What is that?" Maya asked. "A chip," he said softly. "Someone embedded a tracker." Maya gasped. "Like a microchip?" Mr. Ray shook his head. "No, not fry. This is older. Cruder. It was used to track livestock that were high value." Noah frowned. "Did it hurt her?" Mr. Ray nodded. "All this time she's been carrying a piece of her past. Hidden, silent, but always there." Ember stood still, eyes on Noah. "I'm going to take it out," Mr. Ray said. "Carefully." He prepped a small tool, whispered gently to Ember, and began the slow removal. The chip was deep, but she didn't move. Not once. When it finally came loose, he held it in his hand, a small black square, rusted at the edge. Whoever did this wanted to own her, even after she escaped. Noah stepped forward and touched her hoof. "But she's free now." Mr. Ray smiled. "Yes, she is." He dropped the chip into a metal bowl. "You don't need this anymore, girl." Ember Nada. High, bright. Sound that echoed through the barn. It wasn't pain. It wasn't fear. It was joy. Pure and full. Noah lit up. "She's happy. She knows," Maya whispered. "It's finally over." Mr. Ray looked at Ember and spoke softly. "You're free now." She pressed her head gently into his chest. Noah reached out and hugged her neck. "No more chains. No more chips. Just us." That night, Ember stood under the stars outside the barn, her head high, tail swaying gently in the breeze. And for the first time since she'd been found on that roadside, she didn't carry a single scar. She hadn't already turned into strength. The news of Ember's full recovery spread quickly. It started with a few neighbors, then the school. Then someone from the mayor's office called Maya. "We'd like to organize something," the woman said, "to celebrate what Ember and Noah have done. A town event. A parade." Maya blinked. "A parade? For a horse? For a miracle," the woman said. "Your son gave this town something we all needed. Reminder that healing is real." A week later, the whole village buzzed with excitement. The main road was lined with streamers and flags. Children wore cowboy hats. Old folks brought folding chairs. Families parked their cars near the edge of the park. The signs read, "Hope has hooves, from hurt to hero. Ember's March." The boy who believed Noah stood beside Ember in the prep area, his hair neatly combed, his shirt tucked in, and a small ribbon pinned to his chest. Mr. Ray stepped back, nodding proudly. "You both clean up pretty good." Ember was brushed until her coat gleamed. Pink and gold ribbons braided through her mane. Someone even made her a flower crown. She didn't seem to mind at all. Maya knelt down and looked at her son. "Are you nervous?" Noah shook his head. "No, she's with me." The parade began with music. A school band led the way, followed by kids riding ponies dressed in costumes, little knights, fairies, and cowboys. Then came a wagon carrying signs about kindness, rescue, and animal care. Behind that, Ember and Noah walked side by side. No saddle, no lead rope, just trust. The crowd erupted. People clapped, whistled, and threw flower petals in their path. "There they are," someone shouted. "That's the boy and the horse from the story. Look, it's Ember." Noah waved shyly. Ember walked calmly beside him, lifting her legs with grace, her head held high like she knew exactly what this meant. Children ran to the edge of the ropes to get a closer look. One little girl called out, "She's beautiful." "She's brave," Noah replied. Mr. Ray and Maya followed behind, overwhelmed by how many lives had been touched by one scared horse and one quiet boy. At the town square, the mayor stepped onto the stage with a microphone. "Today, we honor two souls who reminded us that love can heal anything, but scars don't mean broken, and that sometimes the smallest hearts carry the biggest strength." She turned to Noah and Ember. "Noah, would you like to say something?" The crowd went quiet. Noah walked up the steps slowly. Ember stayed below, eyes on him the whole time. He took the mic. His voice shook a little. Ember was hurt, like really hurt. People gave up on her, but she didn't give up on me. Even when I didn't talk, even when I was scared. She listened. He looked down at her. "She taught me how to be brave." Then he smiled, and I think she healed me more than I healed her. The crowd clapped, and a few people wiped their eyes. Maya couldn't stop smiling. Mr. Ray patted her shoulder. "That boy just stole the whole town's heart." The mayor stepped forward again. "To honor their journey, we officially named this day Ember's Hope Day, a day of healing, love, and second chances." Everyone cheered. Later that evening, after the crowds faded and the road was quiet, Noah sat beside Ember in her stall. She rested her head on his lap, eyes soft and tired. "You did great today," he whispered. "Everyone loves you." He pulled a ribbon from his pocket. "This one's just for you." He tied it gently around her front leg. Then he smiled. "You're more than a horse now. You're a hero." Ember let out a slow, peaceful breath. And in that quiet barn, long after the parade ended, a boy and his horse sat together, not needing words, because their hearts had already said everything. The parade was over, but something bigger had just begun. People who'd seen Noah walk beside Ember started showing up at Mr. Ray's barn, not for tours, not for stories, but for help. One woman came with a young stallion named Scout, skittish, barely let anyone near. She'd tried trainers. Nothing worked. She stood by the gate and asked shyly, "Is the boy here?" Mr. Ray nodded toward the barn. He's brushing Ember. Noah saw them coming. He didn't hesitate. He walked right up to Scout with a quiet presence no adult could fake. The horse shifted nervously, nostrils flaring. Noah said nothing. He just stood close and sat in the dirt. 10 minutes passed. Scout came closer, then closer, then lowered his head into Noah's lap. The woman gasped, hands over her mouth. That's never happened before. Mr. Ray smiled. It's the same every time. He doesn't talk to horses. He listens. News spread fast. Word of mouth, mostly. Local vets. Animal shelters. Even a farm 2 towns over. They didn't call him Noah anymore. They called him the boy who heard hooves. Some days it was a horse afraid of puddles. Other days, a pony that hadn't let anyone touch it since it lost its full. Noah never claimed to fix them. He just showed up. Sat quietly. Waited. And whispered. If he felt like it. Mr. Ray started letting him help during checkups, holding the feed bucket, gently brushing tangled manes, even helping wrap bandages when an older Mare twisted her leg. He understands them. Mr. Ray told Maya. It's like he speaks their language. Maya nodded, watching her son stroke a blind gelding's nose. Maybe he was born for this. One afternoon, a rescue truck pulled in with a horse so wild it kicked the inside of the trailer nonstop. No one dared open the door. The handler yelled, "He's out of control. If we open it, he'll run." Noah stepped forward and asked, "Can I try?" Everyone froze. The handler hesitated. "Kid, this horse bit someone last week." Mr. Ray nodded at the man. "Let him." Noah climbed onto the trailer ramp slowly. No sudden moves. No words. Inside, the horse thrashed, eyes wide, sweat darkening its coat. Noah stood still. After a moment, he placed his hand against the trailer wall. He closed his eyes. Then, quietly, he said, "You're not trapped. I'm here." It was barely louder than the wind. But inside, the banging stopped. Seconds later, the door opened, and the horse walked out calmly, as if it had just remembered what peace felt like. The handler shook his head in disbelief. "What kind of magic is that?" "It's not magic," Mr. Ray said. "It's trust." Word eventually reached a regional animal welfare group. They offered to feature Noah and Ember in their newsletter. A reporter arrived, expecting to interview a miracle boy. She left with tears in her eyes after watching him sit beside a horse for 30 minutes, without speaking a single word. He makes them feel seen. She told Maya. Not everyone understood it. Some said it was a phase. Others thought it was just luck, but the horses knew. Every one of them. They leaned into him like he was shelter from the storm. One day, Mr. Ray brought home a horse that had been found tied to a fence, ribs showing, hooves cracked. It refused to eat, refused to move. Everyone gave up on it, except Noah. He sat beside her stall for 5 straight days, never pushing, just waiting. On the 6th morning, she walked to him. He named her Whisper, and Whisper never left his side again. Maya watched it all happen with quiet awe. Her son, once locked in silence, once hiding from the world, was now helping it heal. She walked beside Mr. Ray one evening and asked, "Do you think it was all meant to happen? That hug on the roadside, Ember, the shelter, everything?" Mr. Ray nodded slowly. "I don't know how fate works, but I know this. When that boy hugged Ember, something bigger than us took over." Maya looked across the pasture, where Noah was walking beside Whisper, Ember following close behind. "He's not just hearing hooves," she said. "He's hearing hearts." And he was every beat, every tremble, every scar, and slowly, one by one, he was helping them find their voice again, just like Ember had helped him find his. Asterisk, It started with a hug on the side of a dusty road, a quiet boy, a broken horse, and a moment the world didn't see coming. But it didn't end there. Weeks after the parade, and months after Ember's recovery, Mr. Ray called Maya and Noah into the barn one morning. He held out a small, rusty key. "This place," he said, "was always meant for healing. I'm not getting younger, and this barn needs new life." Maya looked at him, confused. "What do you mean?" He placed the key in her hand. "I'm giving it to you. The barn. The land. Everything. Make it what it was always meant to be." Maya's eyes filled with tears. "Mr. Ray, we can't." "You can," he said. "You already are." Noah stared at the key in silence, then turned to Ember and whispered, "We can help more now." She flicked her ears forward, like she agreed. They named it Ember's Hope. Not a barn, not a clinic, but a place where broken things were welcome, where silence wasn't scary, and pain wasn't hidden. Where second chances were normal. The first horses that arrived weren't much different than Ember had been. Scared, thin, shut down. But Ember led the way. Noah walked beside them, just like he always had. He still whispered. He still waited. But now, he taught others how to listen too. Kids who had stopped speaking. Veterans carrying things they never said out loud. Even adults who had never touched a horse in their life. They came, and one by one, they healed. One day, Maya found Noah sitting in the stall beside a teenage girl who hadn't spoken since losing her brother. She was brushing Ember's mane. Eyes focused, lips parted. Noah was just sitting beside her. Then she whispered, "Does she ever get scared?" Noah nodded. She did, but not anymore. Maya stepped back quietly, tears in her eyes. That was the magic of Ember's Hope. It didn't try to fix people. It just gave them space to find their voice again. The mayor came to visit during the ribbon-cutting ceremony. Instead of a speech, she asked Noah if he wanted to say something. He walked to the small wooden podium and looked out at the crowd. His voice was calm. "I thought I was broken once, but I wasn't. I just needed someone to see me." He looked at Ember. She saw me. Then he smiled. "And now we see each other." The audience stood and clapped. Mr. Ray still visited often. He didn't do as much lifting, but he sat in the shade, sipping iced tea and watching kids laugh as they walked ponies or brushed down nervous horses. "Y'all made this place sing again," he said one day. Maya smiled. "You gave us the key." Mr. Ray chuckled. "No, that boy and that horse did." One evening, as the sun dipped low, Noah sat on the hill behind the barn, legs crossed, Ember grazing beside him. He looked at her and whispered, "We started with nothing." She lifted her head, "And now we have this." She walked over and rested her head on his shoulder. Maya stood by the barn doors, watching the two of them, the once silent boy and the once wounded horse. And she whispered, "Something beautiful happened." Because it did. It started with a hug and became a home, not just for them, but for anyone who needed to be heard and healed and held. Welcome to Ember's Hope, where love doesn't need words, just a heartbeat.